Hey guys, how you doing? It's Tazzy the Mystical Bish. I'm making a video that I've never made before, and it's like my favourites throughout the month. I've always wanted to do one, but I just never have, so I thought, you know what, I'm gonna do it this month. So this is May favourites. I am trying not to be such a consumerist pig, because it's just not good for the planet and it's not good for my wallet either. So things that I'm going to be talking about are going to be like the favorite books that I like and the favorite YouTube channels that I've been watching that I've really been enjoying, and not so much physical objects. Okay, so if you watched a couple of my videos, you might have guessed my likes, my favourite kind of things and what I like to talk about. But if this is my first video that you're watching of mine, I'm going to share with you my interests to see if they link up with yours as to whether you'd be interested in watching this video. So basically, I like ancient history, I like occult knowledge, I like spiritual things, and yeah, I just mainly like ancient history and psychological things. So if that's kind of what you're into, you might vibe with my May favorites. Okay, so now let's talk about YouTube channels. So a new YouTube channel that I found, which is really interesting, is a lady called Kenika Batra. I think that's how you say her name. So I'm going to put the links to everything down below in the description box if you want to go and find the people and the books that I'm talking about. So Kenika Batra, I hope I'm saying her name properly. She is a diagnosed sociopath, I believe, and she is a diagnosed narcissist. And she is sharing videos like, what do narcissists think about you when they're going out with you, and what it's like to have narcissistic personality disorder. And I find her absolutely fascinating, and I'm so happy that she made a channel. She is a really amazing woman because, like she said, these people that have got narcissistic personality disorder and like, I think she calls it the cluster B, cluster B personality disorders. They are still people, and they are people that are not really understood. They are people that are marginalized from our society. They're even pushed away by psychologists. That's what she said. She's been pushed away by psychologists, and nobody wants to see them, nobody wants to help them, and nobody wants to talk about them. And narcissists and people like that, it's not actually their fault. They've got these personality disorders. They did not choose to have them. And she just talks about life from her perspective and how she's trying to get better, and she's just trying to help other people that have got these personality disorders. And I think if you do read tarot, like a lot of people might read on my channel, it'd be very interesting to listen to life from her point of view. Or if you're just interested in people like I am, please go and check her out. She is amazing, and there's not really many people like her on the internet, and these people do need to be understood. They need to be helped, and they just want to be happy like the rest of us, and understanding them is a great place to start to help them live a better life. So the next YouTuber is a lady called Jessica Reichberg or Richburg. She's a yoga teacher, and she's very soft and she's very gentle, and she does very just lovely yoga videos. I don't really know how to explain it. She's just very calming and relaxing, and usually I used to do yoga with Adrian, but I like to look at smaller content creators, and to be honest, she is quite a big yoga YouTuber, but I find her voice very relaxing and calm. So if you're looking for a YouTube yoga teacher, go and check her out down below. And the next person that I'm going to be talking about is a lady called Moan. Her YouTube channel is called Moan Inc, or Moan, I think it's Moan Inc. She I believe went to university and she studied the ancient Greeks, I believe, from the videos that I've watched of hers. And basically she talks about people from the ancient Greek world. She talks about myths and she talks about real women at the moment. She's doing a YouTube series about women from the ancient Greek world, and I just fucking love history, and I love Greco-Roman history. I love ancient civilization, and she's so enthusiastic and she's so I just love her work. So if you're interested in like goddesses, like if you're interested in that kind of thing, goddesses and mythology, please go and check her out down below, because you will just, she's just so enthusiastic and I love her. Okay, so the next YouTuber that I've been watching a lot of this month is a lady called Danielle Hallen. If you're into the true crime genre on YouTube, you'll probably already know who she is. So basically Danielle Hallen is a YouTuber that investigates cold cases. She looks into disappearances and she looks into murders, and she shares the victim's story, and she shares, yeah, she basically just shares the victim's story. And I really like her because she's very compassionate and she puts a lot of work into highlighting cases of missing people, so people that are still missing, and trying to get these people found and trying to get these people home. And again, I just really like psychology, and I like to know how people's minds work, and it also is good to see how like human traffickers and people who murder people, horrible people like that, how their minds work and how they get away with it. And watching the true crime genre has made me a lot more careful about how I live my life, because you just don't realise the bad people that are out there. So if you're into true crime, I will put her YouTube link down below if you want to go and check it out, or if it's something that you've never looked at before, I recommend you go and have a look. Okay, I'm going to be moving on to books and audiobooks that I've listened to. So I've got an Audible subscription. I love to listen to audiobooks all day, every day. So I'm just going to share with you my favourite ones from this month. So sorry, I can't just pop up on the screen. I'm not that good at editing. But I've got this book called My Year of Rest and Relaxation by Ottessa Moshfegh. And it's a Penguin publication. Again, I will put it down below. So this book, I could not put it down. I think it's like a 7-hour book, or something like a 7-hour book, and I literally caned it in 2 days. This book is about a girl who's clearly severely depressed, and she spends a whole year basically inside her flat taking like tranquilizer pills and depression pills, and she just tries to sleep a whole year away. And she talks about it's actually really funny, but I would not recommend listening to it if you're very depressed, because I was really depressed when I listened to this book, like really depressed, and that book actually made it a lot worse. But because I'd already started listening to it and I was engrossed in it, I just had to finish it. So do not recommend if you are actually depressed. It's not a good book for that. But if you're not, this is a very dark, humoured, like the humor in it is very dark, and it is a very dark book, but I've got quite dark humor, and I am actually quite a dark person inside my dark soul. So yeah, I'd really recommend this book to people who've got that kind of humor. She just talks about when she blacks out on her pills and she goes out partying, and she like wakes up and realizes that she's had her fanny waxed and she's had her hair cut, and it's set in 2001, and it's got it's set in 2001 in America, in New York City. So yeah, I would recommend that book to you if you've got Audible, or if you're looking for something to read. Okay, so the next book that I'm going to recommend is called The Wolf Den by Elodie Harper. and it looks like that on Audible. So The Wolf Den is about slavery and is about prostitution in Pompeii. I think in the, like, I think it was like 76 AD. I'm assuming this is very close as to when Mount Vesuvius erupted, but basically it's a story following a girl who was enslaved from Greece, and she now lives a life as a prostitute in Pompeii, and it talks about the horrible life that she lives and how she tries to escape her enslavement. And the reason why I got this book is because, again, like I said, I really find Greco-Roman history, ancient history, absolutely fascinating. I like to know how our civilizations have evolved, and I like to hear about different people's stories, and I like to hear it from all different people's perspectives. I don't just want to hear about the gods, I don't just want to hear about the rich people, I want to hear about everybody's point of view that lived in that time. So I thought this would be really interesting to see what the life of a slave might be like. And listening to the story, you can tell that the person who wrote here has probably most definitely actually been to Pompeii, and she really paints the picture of what Pompeii would have been like perfectly at that time. So if you're interested in like ancient history literature and into that kind of thing, I would recommend this. It took me a long time to get into it. It probably took me 2 or 3 chapters to get into it, but then afterwards I was hooked, and I didn't really like the voice actress in it. To be honest, I think this book would have been better read, but the voice actress is not so annoying that you can't listen to it. Mainly the reason why I didn't like the voice actress is because I really didn't like the way that she done men's voices. I was just like, cringe, no, I don't like it. But yeah, really would recommend that book as well. Okay, so the next book I recommend is Pandora's Jar. This is like a really popular book at the moment. I see it everywhere. This, it's by a lady called Natalie Haynes. Again, I'll put that down below. So this book looks at all the famous women from the Greek plays, from Greek history, such as Helen of Troy, Pandora, obviously, Medusa, the Amazons, Clytemnestra, Eurydice, I forgot how you say her name, Phaedra, Medea, Penelope. She talks about all these women, and she gives them about an hour's time slot, like an hour per, chapter, and she just really explores their characters and explores what their life would have been like, and she explores the contradiction and the hypocrisy in the way that they were viewed at that time. Basically, the Greeks thought that women were evil and should be conformed and should be just not spoken about, not seen, nothing. And she really explores that from quite a feministic point of view, and I really enjoy it because it breathes life into these women from the mythologies and from the plays. So if, again, you're interested in some of the goddesses and the stories from ancient Greek time, I would really recommend this book, especially if you're a woman, just to get a more refreshing point of view, because there's a lot of crimes against women in these mythologies, and I think she tries to, give them some power back. Oh my god, I completely forgot to say one of the books that I read that I literally loved so much, and it's Cersei by Madeline Miller. I think everybody has read this book. It's about Cersei, the witch that features in the Odyssey, I believe. Yeah, I believe she features in the Odyssey, and it just shares her story of exile and heartbreak and what it would have been like to be a nymph So to explore the life of the nymphs in all the Greek tragedies and all the Greek mythologies, this is just an amazing book, and I can't wait to read Song of Achilles. I believe that she wrote that book as well, but I highly recommend that, especially if you're got an Audible account, to listen to it on audiobook, because the narrator is just amazing. So yeah, I very much recommend that book as well. Okay, and lastly, although there's a load of books that I've read this month which I really enjoyed, if you'd like me to talk about all the books that I read, like, maybe put that down below. I'm not really sure if anybody's interested in that from me, but if you are, put that down below and I will maybe start doing book reviews. Okay, so the last book is called Helen of Troy by Bettany Hughes, and Bettany Hughes is a fucking amazing author. I love everything that she does, and I'm even going to put some documentaries that she's done down below that you can find on YouTube, because I just think she's amazing. I've read another one of her books called Tale of Three Cities, which is basically about Istanbul's history, and it's like a 20-hour audiobook, and I loved every single minute of it. So yeah, anyway, this is called Helen of Troy, Goddess, Princess, Whore, and I've almost finished it. I'm about there in it. So Bettany Hughes explores who Helen of Troy, or Helen of Sparta, actually really was, and she explores her myth. She explores how she comes up in the Odyssey and how she comes up in the Iliad, and what she really would have been like as a Bronze Age woman in the era of heroes. And I love Helen of Troy. I absolutely adore her, and I'm going to make a video on her myself from everything that I found out from this book. But if you're interested in Helen of Troy, and if you're interested in Greek mythology, and if you're interested in the late Bronze Age and the history of the late Bronze Age and the history of the War of Troy, I really strongly recommend buying this book, and I really recommend reading anything by Bettany Hughes. Okay, thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, let me know, and if you've got any book recommendations or like YouTubers recommendations, and you've watched this video and might think that I might like a certain person or a certain book, please let me know, because I'm always looking for stories, and I'm always looking for YouTubers, and I'm always looking for history. So yeah, okay, thanks, bye.